G'day mates, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be VOD reviewing none other than the solo World Cup champion, Bugha. But I'm going to be focusing on his role in his trio as the IGL, as the leader. He has got some of the best comms in the game, he has some of the best decision making in the game, and I'm even going to include a cheeky little secret at the end to how you can become the best player in the world and your team can become the best team in the world. So stay tuned for that one at the end. And yeah, thank you so much for supporting my channel at the moment, guys. If you liked the video, please chuck a like on it. Please subscribe if you want more content like this. I got heaps more common, and yeah, let me know in the comment section down below who you want me to do next. Enjoy the video. Now I'm going to come back and VOD review exactly what they're doing comm-wise in a little bit, because honestly, when it comes to IGLs, comms is like one of the most important things, but I want to let this pretty long end game play out because this is an absolute clinic as exactly what you should do movement-wise. So they do a really nice short pad. They get instantly to front side of zone. So front side of zone is the position you want to keep your team, whether you're the IGL, whether you're the Tarper. You want to be right here on front side of zone. For several reasons. It means you can't be held in the back because you are not on the back side of zone, but you want to focus on what layer they're on as well. They're front side, they're on a middle layer here, but they're not second height. So second height is where you're the one layer below height, and you're going to get focused by them the whole time. You're going to get RPG'd, you're going to get AR'd, you're going to get SMG'd, all the pressure's going to be on you. So he keeps them in a really nice spot right here. He pushes forward. He's building really nice open tarps. He's not building stair tarps. He's keeping them nice and open because they have really good materials. And now he's waiting for zone to pull. He's going to react as soon as zone shows. Zone pulls across. He instantly starts tarping them. Now, notice what he does here. He gets back to front side. He's using Bizzle diagonal tarps because he wants to get onto the edge of zone. He wants to have an edge on them. He wants that left edge. So right now, if you look at my cursor, he could have come straight up into the middle and he could have gone to this edge here, but he's trying to keep one left edge safe the whole time. So see how no one is pressuring them from their left because he's taking them onto the left edge front side. Now, right now, Avery's going to take over the tarping because Bugha's out of mats, and instead of doing a mat shuffle around, he's just going to take over in hard mats. But what happens next when zone shows exactly what Bugha's thinking about this whole time. Now he's going to start looking for, is height going to be the option? So 13 seconds till zone shows, they're on front side, they're looking good, they're in really good spots, and now they're going for refreshes. They're all really nice and close together. That was a great duo knockdown and refresh. That's what they're looking for. Avery has a nice tarp for them, but Bugha sees if zone goes up, that's where we're going to have an issue. So before zone even showed, he started building up, and his hunch was right. Zone goes across, he's tarping them through, he's gone down to stair tarps now as well, because he's going to start focusing high ground. They're looking at high ground. They're starting to decide whether they're going to go for it. Are we going to go for it? And no, the decision was they're not going to go for it because there's another team fighting on it. Even though they damaged one of the players up there, if there's two teams fighting for height, that's not where you want to be. Bugha gets a beautiful refresh. He thinks that might be the high ground player, so he looks up again. He keeps looking up. No, that's not them. We can't take it. So instinctively, Bugha gets them down. He doesn't want to stay up here. They're second height. See that one RPG hit? Nah, we're second height. Let's go down. Everyone goes down because they decided high ground is not worth it right now. They're chilling now in their tarp. They're looking really good. They're on a good layer. 13 alive, 9 eliminations. They've got nice tarps to go back through. Zone pulls back through. Height's not focusing them anymore because they're in their own tarps. They're going back through old builds. So they decide to stay second height, and they still get their eyes on that high ground. They now know those teams haven't fought. He's figured out that he has 3 floppers and 6 chug splash. He's going to go for a storm play. So Bugha's going for the high ground play now. He's going to tarp out. He's going back up the top. Avery and Jamper are still making their way into zone so they can back him up. They're waiting for Bugha to apply this pressure on high ground. So he's now getting above them. They have no idea he's there. This is a misplay by their team that was on ultimate height. Their ultimate height player was not watching for this retake. They then take it off them. And because Avery's now pressuring from beneath, they get to pincer them. Avery comes up. Bugha comes from below. And it was a perfectly executed high ground retake. They didn't have shockwave launcher. Carson has it and he goes down here. But it was because they were on front side of zone the whole time. And they kept looking at high ground. They wanted to know exactly what was going on at all times. What does height look like? When can we take it? They went to go for it 2 times, decided it wasn't worth it, went for it the 3rd time and took it. I love the fact that they were on the verge of taking it. They got extra information. They decided not to last minute, but they kept looking at it. They waited for the best moment to take high ground. In my next video on tarping and levels and elevation, I will go into much more detail on exactly when you should take height. But right there, it was because of Bugha's IGL ability to keep looking at it is why they ended up taking high ground in the end. This next clip's a great example of what the IGL can do if they're not the tarper, or if they are the tarper, what they have to be aware of before it happens. So right now, Bugha's not tarping here. Jamper's going to drop down and start tarping for them. Avery's going to be inside the tarp, but we're going to see something very massive that Bugha does that a lot of teammates and IGLs don't do for their tarpers.
Make sure to get up. If it plays up the mountain, you have to get ready to go up, Jamper. So maybe start going up a little bit.
So again, he's predicting what's happening ahead of time. He's communicating. So he's said that he's looked at the map. He's seen the elevation. He knows that after it goes up the water here, it's going to start going up a bit of a hill. So he communicates that. He marks it. If it goes up, we need to start going up a few. So he's predicting that if the zone goes up the mountain, they have to go, but he's communicating it to the tarper and he's telling them exactly where to go. If you're the support IGL in this scenario, which is what Bugha's doing, he's not doing the tarping on the front side and he's not fragging on the back side. He's keeping his eyes out and looking for what the tarper has to do and clearly communicating it to him. Watching out for elevation is one of the main things you're going to have to do, because you have to know if your team starts tunneling straight into a mountain and they get stuck towards the end, it's trying to get up those mountains when you're right under them that cause the most amount of congestion and often kills teams the most. If you can start ramping up and elevating beforehand, you're always in a much better position. Sorry, just stepping in to pop in a bit of a disclaimer here. I didn't want you to think this was going to be my whole video on which layer to be on. I've actually got some replay files from Chap, and when it comes to replay files, I can zoom out and show you guys exactly what layer to be on based on what teams are around them. It's a bit hard to do it through live Twitch VODs, but I wanted to get a little bit of that in there because Bugha is so good at their layer management. But yeah, just want to make sure there's a video coming. Trust me, subscribe if you want to see it. Back to the video. First thing I want to talk about that Bugha does so incredibly well is he describes to his team what's going to happen before it happens. He figures out where they're going to go and he clearly communicates what the next steps are. So right now they're in a pretty stacked game. He's setting up for a pad.
Hide it.
And let their comms play out.
Okay, we can low pad for me, guys. It'll bring us far enough. Here, come up.
Telling his team to get to him, making sure they're all in the same position.
Right here. Come on.
Telling him exactly what's going to happen.
Go east and then down to the left. Ready?
We're going to go east and then down to the left. He's giving them exactly what's going to happen.
Just follow. Get above this brick. I'm going to go up a layer because there's kids here.
We're going to land on this brick. We're going to go up a layer because there's kids here. How good was that pad? Not only was it a well-placed pad, he had a good plan of where they were going to go, but it's how he communicated it. Sometimes you can be the IGL. You can have the best intentions in the world. You know what's happening. You know you're going to land 2 layers up. You're going to go above. But if you don't tell your teammates, they get confused. They drop lower. They drop higher. All of a sudden, you're split and you're going to them. This was a perfect pad, but what made it even better was the communication. He told them exactly where they're going to go and then decided in midair as quick as he could where they're going to land and describe the thought process. This is how you need to communicate. You need to have a plan before you move, and then you need to say what you're going to do with that plan and then update your team as you go very clearly. Notice how Avery and Jamper also stayed completely quiet during that whole pad situation. Now, I'm sorry they're going to keep kind of like pausing and unpausing, but obviously a lot of what I'm focusing on when it comes to Bugha and IGLs in general is comms, so I want to make sure I'm playing out their comms, but we have a good end game here. Bugha, Avery, Jamper, they're playing this one out. 35 alive, 4 eliminations, 1500 above Storm Surge. They need to refresh pretty soon. They're starting to run out of materials, but the one thing I want to focus on here is the comms, it's the knowledge that Bugha has of all his teammates. So he's jumping in now, he's trying to get the refresh, but it's how their comms go after this that's super, super important. Bugha constantly is keeping tabs on what Avery's doing and what Jamper's doing.
With Jamper? Talk? Yep, with you. Perfect.
So Jamper talk with you. He knows who he has in front of him. He has Jamper there. He has Avery behind him. If he doesn't get consistent comms for what his teammate's doing, he's constantly thinking about them. He hasn't heard from Jamper what he's doing, what's happening. Talk. He literally says talk. This might happen for some of your teams if you have quiet teammates and you need them to communicate. Just say it. Talk. Tell me what's happening. Sometimes it's great to have a quiet team that only says what's necessary, but Jamper and Avery are very, very quiet teammates, which is good because it means that Bugha can clearly communicate and everyone can listen, but sometimes you need to know what's happening with them. So you can ask them, talk, tell me what's going on. And it shows that Bugha, even in this insane endgame while running around the map, he is focusing and keeping mental tabs of what Jamper and Avery are doing. He doesn't hear anything from Jamper for a while, and he literally tells him to talk to get an update on what he's doing. I don't want to focus all the clips today on endgame. One of the main skills you're going to need as an IGL is to know how to make mid-game rotates too, because they can be quite difficult. Everyone focuses on what tarp to be endgame, how to get high ground. You have to get to endgame first. And I want to show you exactly what happens when a zone shows and what Bugha does in that situation. Let's hear out his thought process here.
Oh yeah,
They're sitting on height up north to west, bro. As far as we pad early and get up here?
I don't think we can pad early, but
How many pads do you have?
don't you have everything?
Yeah, I have 1 pad, I guess.
I guess only one.
So does a bit of inventory management, tries to figure out it goes far. Can we pad up here? Talks about what inventory they have. Do you have pads? Do I have pads? No, we have 1 pad. Now he's going to start looking around to see what they can do next and what their options are.
Can we swim or no?
We
I feel like we could.
swim?
If those
Not
kids
down for
move.
swim,
If those
not for
kids
swim.
move, we
Just
can.
pad if you have to, bro. It's a
I
dead
think
game.
just pad.
Alright.
So if those kids move, then we can swim. So he's already, again, discussing what the plan is with the team. So then if something happens, they're not reacting last minute. He's telling them if those kids move, that's when we're going to try and swim. If not, we're going to pad. They have the 2 options.
Dead game
Alright.
Or we rotate to the right. You think that team west? We could rotate to the west.
I mean, we're just gonna be white lining up a mountain then.
That's
Yeah,
not.
but I feel like there's less people.
We should just honestly pad. I think it's.
Okay, listen. If this team here rotates, we can swim. I'm not trolling, but
Okay.
they're not. So we're just gonna have to pad and land under height.
So still discussing their
But I
game
think
plan.
West is W King. I think they're aggroing someone.
Okay, get ready to pad.
Now zone's going to show. Get ready
Yeah,
to
they-
pad.
Can we swim? Swim.
no.
So the call is swim. They've moved.
Are you sure? Yeah,
I'm
they
getting
are. We're
on by
padding from here. We're padding from here.
And then
I don't know why
unfortunately, the
they're-
plan didn't work, and now they're going to pad from the original
Come
spot.
here,
So
come here.
as much as the rotate didn't go the way it wanted for Bugha, he wanted them to move so he could swim and hold on to his mobility, hold on to that launch pad. It was because of clear communications. This was it was a bit of a scuff rotate that was much, much better. Imagine like a lot of teams, maybe people you play with IGLs, they just see the team move and they're like, we're swimming, and they just go. Or we're padding and they just go. Because they all had clearly communicated what the plan was and what was going to happen, they were fine. If they move, we're going to swim. If they don't, we pad. Bugha thought they moved, so they started swimming, realized he didn't, then they padded. The whole team was across what was going to happen because Bugha had the foresight to look ahead and figure out what they were going to do next, and then he had the communication skills to let his teammates know what his thought process was, and then they made it with no dramas at all. They've now made the rotate. They're 200, all of them, didn't use too many mats, had to use their launch pad, but tried to save it. Beautiful comms and beautiful foresight from Bugha here. As promised earlier in the video, I have for you the foolproof way to be a World Cup winner, the secret to being the best player in the world, and here it is for you. VOD reviewing. I know that might sound dumb coming from me because I make VOD review videos, but VOD review your own gameplay. So this is the game that I showed earlier that I said they played to perfection. They still go back and watch it to figure out what they could have done better. And Bugha's looking at it. He's also got Avery and Jamper in the call, and he's talking about exactly what they could have done better and what happened. You need to VOD review your own gameplays. I love that you guys like my videos. That's fantastic. Go back into your own gameplay. Go into the wins, but most importantly, go into the losses. Try to identify what you're doing well and what you're doing poorly. Try and see what you could have done differently and what happened when things broke down. If you can record your gameplay so you can hear the comms, it's even better. But not only does it give you a perspective of what's happening around you, it'll let you look at your teammates as well. You are the IGL. You're the team leader. You're going to be the one who has to know what to do and when to do it. So your teammates hopefully are doing box fight maps. They're doing their creative cranking. They're doing all their mechanics practice. On top of that, you have to IGL. You have to go back and figure out what your team could have done better, because if something went wrong on where you went or where you rotated, it's your fault. Unfortunately, the IGL cops a lot of blame, but this is where you have the most impact on a team. Maybe you led them height too early. Maybe low ground was better than mid ground. Maybe you should have gone up one layer instead of down one layer. Small things. Go back into your gameplay, figure out what you could have done better, and you can be this good as well. I know it sounds cliche, but the players who just practice on their mechanics and only focus on their wins are never going to get better. Focus on what you could have done better at all times. All right, guys, that does it for another VOD review. Thank you so much for supporting the channel right now. It has been unreal. I'm pumping this content out for you guys. If you haven't already, please chuck a like on the video if you got this far. Subscribe with post notifications on if you want more of these videos. And yeah, let me know in the comment section down below who to do next. I have been reading through all of those, and yeah, I really hope this video helped you, and thank you so much. Have a good day, night, wherever you are. Thank you so much.